What's up guys, Lvladen here, and today I'm coming at you with a video on the War Within beta. We are going to take a look at the Ret Paladin talents that I'm currently playing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I think Ret is in PvP. So this past week, Herald got nerfed, and I know I really haven't made too many videos on either Herald or Templar. However, Herald was definitely by far the superior spec in PvP. And in my opinion, it still is. So the first thing I'll go over is the talents here. So not too much has changed on the Paladin side. We lost Crusader's Reprieve. So Touch of Light moved up here. Incandescence, I think, maybe it was here before. I don't know. But these two talents are kind of garbage. So you can kind of take the Crusader's Reprieve point and put it wherever you want. I put a second point into the Holy Aegis with the Blessing of Protection spec here, so I can have both. If you guys want, you can maybe take a extra charge of Divine Steed. Maybe that's better, or maybe the duration. Honestly, it's totally up to you. I've played multiple expansions with just like one steed now, so not a huge deal not playing Cavalier to me. Over on the right side of the Retribution tree, we have had nerfs to Radiant Glory, which, by the way, when it first released was absolutely insane. Radiant Glory was so OP. It was basically permanent wings with permanent dawn lights, and I believe they nerfed it twice now to a more reasonable proc rate. Definitely not as strong as before, but with Herald of the Sun, it is still good because anytime you proc a wings, which now, by the way, only procs from your final verdicts or basically your holy power spenders here, it still procs a dawn light. So it's good. It's still good. Burn to Ash. I'm pretty sure this was still here last time we talked about Herald talents. Any other big updates? They keep changing Templar strikes, and it's just not working. So if I was to give any feedback on Templar strikes, make it a single charge Crusader strike, but a gigantic nuke. Like, make it worth being in melee range, because you have plenty of holy power generators to push when you're already in combat. So it needs to be like, even though this is now what, 5 seconds, it's replaced by Templar Slash. You have 5 second window to hit that second Templar Slash. It's still not really that impactful. I don't like it. But I mean, originally I thought Templar Strikes was great, and this would be a fantastic talent if Crusading Strikes wasn't a thing. Again, I'm not a fan of Crusading Strikes. It's just Templar Strike is still currently too weak to take. And I don't think it's a matter of balancing issue. It's a matter of, it's like a two-pronged strike where you need to like push the button twice in order for the second ability to go off. But really, you want to prioritize your final verdicts as much as possible and your other higher damage generators. So really, I don't know how to fix this without maybe reworking it or mega buffing, but even mega buffing probably doesn't feel that great. So really remove Crusading Strikes or make this actually hit super hard, and preferably just one charge. After that, the build that I've been playing Boundless Judgment, since it got that mastery 50% increased chance to trigger the mastery Highlord's Judgment. I think that's fine. And then our 2-set bonus now increases the damage of Blade of Justice by 15%. Due to the kind of poor stats on the set gear, like not all the set gear is fantastic, like haste crit and crit mastery. I mean, it's okay. Like, I'd probably go the 2-set in PvP combat. At least if this is nerfed. If this isn't nerfed in PvP combat and there's a way to like go to the catalyst and convert it over and it's still 10% increased Wake of Ashes, or Wake of Ashes increases your damage by 10%, then I'll probably definitely run it. But if it's only 5%, I'm probably going to prioritize better stat combinations over the 4-set. But the 2-set, I think I'll end up playing, because you can get a haste verse piece and you can get a verse mastery piece. So probably worth playing the 2-set in PvP. Back to the talents here. I do play Penitence, and you can kind of experiment with Execution Sentence and Final Reckoning, and maybe either Will or Divine Auxiliary. Neither of these, actually all 3 of these talents are pretty underwhelming right now. You could honestly play a build without them. Final Reckoning, I feel like it's really weak right now. Execution Sentence got nerfed overall into being into the 20% range, but now in PvP combat, it's only 13% of your damage dealt, so it's even weaker in PvP. And that nerf that didn't account for the PvP changes is a common theme we see throughout this build. or at least his past build. So as you can see, and I didn't talk about this in the previous video, Ages of Protection and Shield of Vengeance, these talents are split. So you can either have in PvP combat a 30% wall on a minute cooldown, or you can have Shield of Vengeance and a 10% wall. And I know on the tooltip it says 20%, but let me give you guys an example here. And I try to go to other PvP dummies, but unfortunately they disabled the portal to Lvladen, and I'm not about to go do a Shadowlands quest. So if I go and I smack the PvP target dummy here, a couple things. So Execution Sentence tooltip, now 13%. Divine Protection tooltip, now 10%. Divine Protection is pretty terrible right now. I really don't know. I think honestly having a 30% wall on a minute cooldown might be a little more advantageous than having a 10% plus Shield of Vengeance. But it remains to be seen. I haven't tested I played Arena, but just Soul Shuffle. I haven't played any serious skirms or serious Arena yet on the beta. In addition to that, what else do we have to talk about? So Dawn Lights got nerfed, both offensive and defensive Dawn Lights. So what am I saying? The most attractive qualities of Herald of the Sun are its utility. So it provides pretty good self-sustain through Eternal Flame plus defensive Dawn Lights here. So when you cast Wake of Ashes, you can apply a Dawn Light to yourself by pressing Eternal Flame, and then you can apply an offensive Dawn Light to an enemy by pressing Templar's Verdict. You can have both out at the same time, and then 10% of Dawn Light's damage and healing radiates, so it's even more healing. And then you have Sun's Avatar as well, doing a little bit more damage and healing. So Sun's Avatar got nerfed, Dawn Lights got nerfed, and I believe Sunseer got nerfed. But again, all this tuning is probably good. Herald of the Sun was really strong last week, but it just feels like now that this is nerfed, it's pretty evident that Ret's normal damaging abilities aren't hitting that hard compared to other classes on the beta. And I hope I don't stir up too much hatred towards Ret in the beta. People tend to be pretty overreactive to Ret in general, whether that's the buffs or the nerfs or the crying about the state of them. But I mean, right now, don't worry about it too much. We can worry about it, as we get towards the end of the beta cycle, and they haven't done any PvP development. But things I'd expect to see, I'd expect the PvP nerf on Divine Protection to get reverted, and then I still really want to see the mana cost on Eternal Flame gone, and maybe some buffs to either Light Celerity or Guided Prayer. Like, both of these talents are really bad right now too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the standard spec I play. It's pretty good in duels. Execution Sentence, it's just something extra. You could take Final Reckoning if you want. I can show you guys what the standard rotation would look like right now. Let me just fly down to the target dummy. Jump down here. Sorry, it's going to be really laggy and really loud. But it'll look something like this. So let me get off my mouse. I'm going to push Execution Sentence, Judgment, Wake of Ashes into double Final Verdicts here. Into Divine Toll, into Final Verdict, into Hammer of Wrath, into Final Verdict, into Hammer of Wrath, into Final Verdict, into Judgment, into Hammer of Wrath, into Final Verdict. Basically, you just keep rotating between your Holy Power generators and spenders, trying to keep your Crusade up for as long as possible, as long as you get procs. And, oops, I did mess up for 1 second. The globals feel really laggy on the beta right now. But as all my damage faded right there, boom, I have it again. And I did forget to use my Execution Sentence on that second go, but that's more or less what the damage rotation looks like on Ret. It's not super bursty anymore. It's just pretty high, consistent damage. And look at that. Looks like we actually have a Q pop. All right, temporarily gonna suspend the video, and I'll be right back. All right, next thing I wanted to talk about was Templar. So Templar it's so much weaker than Herald of the Sun right now, and it's for more reasons than just simply tuning. Defensive-wise, Templar doesn't have a strong self-sustain. It doesn't have strong self-sustain options, and it doesn't have strong consistent damage options. It's more of like a single-target nuke, but at the moment, the pacing of the game is not based around burst. It's based around sustain, high-pressure damage. because almost every class was given significantly higher self-healing this expansion. So Templar, I'm crossing it out right now as is. It is not the PvP spec. It does not do nearly enough damage. But Templar does actually, it has some occasional nice burst. It has some nice visuals. It's kind of fun to, it's fun, I'll give it that. But there's nothing here that really strikes me as PvP oriented. Like, we lose the slow from not playing Herald. We lose the self-sustainability from not having Eternal Flame or defensive Dawn Lights. Granted, we do have Empyrean. When an Empyrean Hammer critically strikes, 60% of the damage is dealt to nearby enemies, and enemies hit by that effect deal 5% reduced damage to you for 8 seconds. It's really not that great. And then Unrelenting Charger would be really cool if it actually broke snares and roots. If this actually did anything other than what Cavalier or what's this other talent over here, Seasoned Warhorse already did, that would be fantastic. But it unfortunately does not. So therefore, you know, it's not that great. The damage is, it's a little bit, it's similar in a way to Herald, where like Empyrean Hammers kind of look like they do roughly about as much damage as Dawn Lights do. But it's just the fact that it's not super consistent, and it's kind of hitting whoever. Like, when you call down a hammer, it doesn't hit your main target all the time. It can just hit random secondary targets. So yeah, not ideal. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and record this solo shuffle if it works. I mean, so far solo shuffles have been extraordinarily buggy for me, so I haven't been able to record any since the very first one that I got. But all right. Guys, that's about it for this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed my short review on the Ret Paladin War Within PvP-oriented talent suggestion. I don't know. If you guys have any other builds that you are playing on the beta or want to see me try, just let me know. All right, see you next time. Peace.